It's the 16th of March. I'm in the hospital and I'm about to have my surgery. I don't know if any of this is going to actually make it into the video, but my leg is still attached. No idea to the extent of the repair or what happened, but I'm alive. Touch wood, it'll stay that way, and find out more soon. Not trying to become some sort of vlogger or anything, but I thought this would all be valuable for the video. As you can see, I look clapped after the surgery, but I'm back home. And my protocol at the moment is every 30 minutes for 5 minutes, I've got to do some movement. So some flexion like this, some flexion of my toes like this, a few of these, Just got to get that shit going for 5 minutes, basically. So I don't get a blood clot and die, and to help the healing. And then every hour, I've got to do at least 5 minutes of partial weight bearing on my crutches to do something to the tendon, help it heal. But yeah, thought there might be some value.
Slow down, mate.
Is that on? Welcome back, folks, to episode 2 of Down But Not Out. I don't think I'm going to keep saying like episode 1, 2, 3 because with how long I'm going to be injured, there's going to be a lot of episodes. So just welcome back to another video. As you can see, I've got no boot on. I've got a cast, solid as a rock. Just had surgery about 48 hours ago. It's Monday today. I had it on Saturday, and now I'm just trying to partially weight bear, get a little bit of blood through this bad boy. But yeah, this video is all going to be about psychology, mindset, being in your feels, all that sort of non-physical goodness. And I'm going to give you my 3 best tips for facing up to and dealing with injury. But for now, I'm getting in my daily steps, building these shoulders. We're going to go and get a coffee. See you there. Gonna be a while. Costa. So it turns out that the whole idea for this video is to do it not in the house to keep you entertained. And there's a really nice coffee shop at the end of my street called Canto. And I found out this morning it doesn't open on Monday and Tuesdays, and today's Monday. So not only are we at Costa, it's on a main road, and the whole of the inside is full of sixth form students. Nothing against sixth form students, it's just busy. So see how this goes. Listen, I'm not a coffee connoisseur, but a flat white should not come in a freaking 2-gallon cup, should it? Thirsty work. We're in a very strange filming location right now, but the gym's actually up there, believe it or not, above Five Guys. We'll insert some footage now about the training that I have been doing. Third week of training, started wearing vests now. Getting smashed on the bike in the morning as usual. First ride with my cast on, a bit uncomfortable. But yeah, progress. That footage has just been, yeah, footage is playing right now. Okay, great. So yeah, that's the training that I have been doing. Basically just stuff on the bike, and been doing some upper and core circuits and stuff like that at home. Some stuff with resistance bands that's been quite good. So overall I'm pretty active, like I'm finishing the days pretty tired, to be fair, as well as like pain medication I'm taking and like just obviously the extra energy that your body's using to heal. Quite a lot of people asked about my diet and stuff, which later on in the healing process, as I get back into kind of the specifics, we can talk about like that and what a nutritionist has advised me and all that sort of stuff. We'll say that for a separate video, but right now I'm basically just eating and drinking as I normally would. I think my body just needs as many calories and things to repair as possible. So yeah, while I'm out and about, it's good to get a bit of fresh air, try and pump some blood down into the leg, and generally just feel like a functioning human being. I guess before we do the 3 main tips and kind of bits of advice I've got, which I do think is actually some pretty good value to add, I think it's also worth like responding to some of the comments we had on the last video, which were overwhelmingly positive about people being like, oh, you're dealing with this so well, and like your attitude's great and stuff. I think it's worth noticing, like, or noting rather, like obviously I do deal with things by being positive, like quite optimistic, stuff like that. Like it's just like my natural personality. But equally, there has been times, don't get me wrong, where I felt absolutely crap about the situation. The first time that I got kind of like properly hit by it, I guess, was when I came out of surgery on Saturday, and I'd obviously been laying there, whatever, and then the physio came in, and like her job was basically like to teach me how I need to start walking on it, because in order for an injury like this to heal, you have to progressively put weight on it basically as soon as possible. And I started trying to walk like I'm doing now across the room, and she was helping me kind of stand up, and I was just like so demoralised by it. Like I had to walk to like the sink and back, which is like 4 steps, and I sat back on the bed and the physio left the room, and it was only Alice, my girlfriend, in there. I literally started crying, and I was just like, how the hell am I actually going to run again? Like this is so far from running fast, I can't even walk to like the sink and back. And I like did actually get really upset. So I don't want these videos to come across as if it's me just like taking a piss out of the situation, or being like, look, everything's fine, this is how you get over an injury, because everyone's human, everyone deals with things differently, and I also too get upset and have frustrating moments, which I will have in these videos as well, I'm sure, as and when they arise. But yeah, just thought that was worth sharing, because everyone seems to think that I'm just like some sort of like superhuman person that doesn't feel emotions, which is not the case. So with that in mind, that not everything is all sunshine and rainbows, I thought this video would be really good to give a few tips or insights as to how I personally deal with the ups and downs. And I think you can apply this either to an injury or a bad race or things like that. And I get a lot of messages, particularly from younger athletes, being like, oh, I've had a bad race, so how do I deal with it? Or I'm not getting any faster, or I've had this bit of an injury and I feel like I've lost my fitness or my confidence. So yeah, I'm gonna run through a couple of kind of tips or bits of advice that I personally find really helpful as like a mental cue as to how you can sort of reframe your mindset and try and take positives from a situation. So my first tip is just to face up to reality, which sounds quite harsh when you say it, but I'll explain. And what I mean by that is don't shy away from the situation. Just let your brain fully accept what's happened. And if that means that you have to go for a period of being upset or angry or annoyed or reclusive or whatever for a short amount of time, I personally think that's absolutely fine. That's like how you come to terms with it. Don't hide from the situation and say, oh, maybe I'll be all right, or maybe it'll be this. Like if a doctor or someone has told you, like, look, realistically you should be expecting to be out for this amount of time, or you know, realistically you've lost this amount of fitness, or you know, whatever it is, just face up to the situation and be like, okay, cool, this has happened. What are the potential consequences in the short or long term? So if you've missed out on a team, or you've got an injury and you're not going to run for a certain amount of time, just let your brain go, cool, like this thing has happened, and give yourself time to like feel those emotions and basically get over the fact that you know, the bad things happen to you. Because I think the more that you shy away from it, or you try and make up excuses, or you try and trick yourself that something's not going to be as bad or whatever it is, you're just basically delaying kind of the grieving's a weird word, but like you're delaying the grieving process almost of actually coming to terms with what's happened. So the first thing I would do is literally get together some sort of timeline and write down, okay, this happened on this day, realistically my next milestone or achievement to get to is this, and then eventually I'll get to whatever your end point is. So yeah, face up to reality is tip number 1. My second tip is to look for areas of opportunity. And what I mean by this is, if you're an athlete or if running is a big part of your life, the chances are that a lot of your time is spent either training, racing, or thinking about it. And then add to that, if you're say like a parent, or you have a 9-to-5 job, or all the extra responsibilities you have in your life, it might be that when you're training and racing, you don't actually have time for a lot of other stuff. So one thing I would do is look for areas of opportunity in the situation that's happened to you. So in my situation, it's obviously, okay, I'm not running, I make content about running. What areas of opportunity might I be able to exploit now that I can't do that? So is it making projects about other people? Is it pivoting and making more educational content like this? Like, that's an opportunity that I've now got to try something out that I wouldn't have had if I was still racing. And same with, you know, things at work, like if you run your own business, or if you like are a shift worker or something like that, and you've reduced your hours because of running and training, and now you can't do that. Do you have the opportunity to take on more work or make more money or different things like that? So I would look at what opportunities you have to either do new things or to learn new things. So one big opportunity that I have here is to explore cross-training and strength and conditioning in far more detail, and to build like a better support network around me. So once I'm back running, I should in theory be in a better position than I was before. I've got the opportunity to learn a lot more about how to cross-train, what I should do, can it benefit me, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, tip number 2, look for areas of opportunity. And tip number 3, the final one, and this is a bit of a cliche, but take one day at a time. And what I mean by that is one day or 1 week or one milestone at a time. So if that is that you've been told you're going to be out for 6 weeks or 12 weeks, focusing on what you can do each week or what you can do each day. I think often if you look too far ahead and you kind of think about how severe or bad a problem could be, then it's quite hard to actually deal with the day-to-day, and you might just think, oh, I'll just sack off today because what's the point, you know? But if you just focus on, okay, what tasks have I got to do today? So what is my rehab for today, or what's the one thing that I can do today that's going to make it a little bit better? I think actually you stay busy and it makes time go so much quicker. I mean, obviously I've only just had surgery, but this is technically already into my 3rd week since being injured, which I think gone pretty quick, to be fair. I think because I've been, you know, on my laptop, on my emails every day, sorting out projects or working out what rehab I need or chatting to a doctor or whatever, and just every day I've been like, okay, what do I need to do today, and get it ticked off. So I think if you take one day at a time, you can, you know, stack up days probably quicker than you imagine, and that time frame that you're looking at, whether it be 6 months out, 3 months out, whatever, you can chip away at a lot quicker than you think.
Since we last spoke, what have you been up to?
I'm absolutely in a bad way actually by crutching so much better there, but my hands are killing. Yeah, we've said all this stuff in this video about me being a bit more serious, which I don't know if people enjoy that or not, but I'm just trying to keep these videos honest. But as we're keeping them honest, I'm going to show you some of the stuff I've been up to since. So first thing is, got these bad boys, which I've not actually opened yet, which, if anyone's got into cycling, you're a bit of a part-timer like me, you'll know that your arse can get a bit sore if you've not got any shorts. So I've ordered some shorts. Hoka, by the way, Hoka don't actually make these. If they do, then someone direct me to them, but I couldn't find any Hoka ones, so I had to buy another brand. Got a bit of padding, feels like it'd be quite nice. Some shorts.
Lovely.
Very Ineos style. The other thing I've been doing, as you can see here, I'm a big jigsaw guy. Like, I was a big jigsaw person before this. And because I work on my laptop and I'm home alone for most of the time, I don't have that much social interaction when my girlfriend's away at work. I'll be working on my laptop and I want to take my mind off something, and because a lot of my job is social media orientated, I hate just like sitting and scrolling and doing stuff on my phone. So 2 big things I'm into is, one, doing crosswords, because it's just like, oh, I'll do a bit of a crossword, take my mind off things. The other is jigsaws. Charlie, I don't know if you can zoom in down there on the jigsaw, some of the other jigsaws previously completed, don't know. But anyway, as it's been Cheltenham week, I've cracked open this one this week. It's called The Races. Look how difficult that's going to be to start. So yeah, this has been a couple days, to be fair, just chipping away.
Days?
What do you mean? Well, I'm not doing it for the full day, am I? I mean, I've had this open for a couple of days, but I'm doing like an hour a day or something like that. It's hard to wait, but once you get the flow of it. So yeah, that's my jigsaw. And then to go along with that, I've actually been watching a lot of Cheltenham recently. I don't know if we have any horse racing enthusiasts who watch the channel, or just, you know, part-timers. But what I might share for next year, I might make it a bit of a distance project type thing, but I've been perfecting this spreadsheet over the last few years of my Cheltenham winners. So here, let's not zoom in too much, because, by the way, gamble aware and all that sort of thing. I don't know where we sit with being able to say this. I know young people watch this channel. Don't gamble. The house always wins. You know, but it's not gambling if you win, all right? So here, as you can see, this is my spreadsheet for the week, Tuesday to Friday. You've got all the names of the races, what horses you're backing, the odds, and you've got your profit or loss on the side. So comment below if you had any big winners at Cheltenham, or if you're just generally into that sort of thing, because that was keeping me entertained. But yeah, jokes aside, a lot of people in the Q&A section said, like, what does a normal day for you look like, especially when you're injured? And I just want to clear up, like, running, of course, is my job in terms of I'm paid to run, but I do have like a digital marketing business that I work with. Charlie now helps me with that as well, and I have client calls and like a normal job as well. So to be honest, my day's not really changed that much, apart from one of my runs in the day has been replaced with a cross training session, so going on the bike, and then where I would double or have something else, that's normally been like a core session or an upper body session or something like that. So I'm still training and working in pretty much the same routine as I can. The only thing I'm not doing is popping out, like, we went for a coffee then just because we could and it got some steps in, but I can't just fly out to get my hair cut or go into town or like little things like that, because obviously I'm a bit immobilised. But yeah, my days pretty much look the same as they did, so that's a nice bit of continuity, to be fair. I'm keeping busy, which is important. So this is the Q&A section. To wrap up the video, we've got some questions from people. As usual, you can go on Instagram, and normally the day before we film, I'll put on a question box, write in whatever questions you have. I'll pick some of them for the thing, and your name gets shown on screen. So the first one is from Philip. Philip Callus, who says, how do you deal with anxiety before racing? And Philip, or for anyone into this, I love having some sort of journal or diary, and I always write my training diary. I've got so many of them. I can't be bothered to go over there, but I've got 5 or 6 now. And I always get the same one. There's one that's called Compete and there's one that's called Believe. They're part of this series by someone called Laura Fleshman. A couple of pro runners, I believe, that made it, but it's a pretty sick diary, to be fair. Every week you have like what your intention's going to be, a little rundown of what it's going to be, all the training you've done. I'm still using this even though I'm injured, so even though I'll give you a rundown of like last week, if I can find it, it's just 0, 0, 0 for all the mileage, but I'm still writing in the workouts that I'm doing. But I think one really important thing for anxiety before races is like reflecting on how well prepared you are, because often in any challenge in life, to be fair, we forget how equipped we are to actually do the challenge, or we don't think rationally because we let that anxiety or the nerves get in the way of what we're doing. And as you've seen in previous videos on this channel, feel free to go and watch them if you haven't before, you can see that I'm visibly nervous before some races and I'm not thinking rationally about like how well prepared I am for it. And often I write notes, say the night before a race, or I read back through things, or I've even been at races before where I've looked through like my Instagram posts or reels before just to remind myself, wow, like Callum, look at all this training you've posted and like how well prepared you are for this situation. So anxiety before race, I'd say, remember it's completely normal. Everyone gets it at every level, whether you're like, you know, lining up in an Olympic final or you're just like doing a park run. But think about why you're prepared for that position, why you've got there, and remember that for 99.9% of people watching this video, you're not being paid to do it. It will be a hobby. It's a fun thing that you do. So just remind yourself that there's other opportunities and it's a fun thing. The second question comes from someone called Zan is Running. He says, talk a little bit more about the example of a training plan you gave in the previous episode. If you've not watched the previous episode, I gave like a brief screenshot of like a generic training plan that you could potentially follow. As it goes, like a weekly structure that I tend to advise to people, especially if you're starting out. If you're really starting out, start with just one workout, so one session a week. So that might be like track, interval, hills, whatever it is, and one longer run of the weekend, and just get used to doing those 2. Once you step up from that, you can do 2 workouts plus your long run, which is a generic schedule that most people follow. I would say do it on a Tuesday and a Friday in an ideal world, so you have 2 days to recover between on Wednesday and Thursday to take easy. And I would do one kind of longer interval session, so I'd have something where you're focusing on the rep length, so it might be 4 minute, 5 minute, 6 minute, or miles, or 2 kilometer reps, or whatever it's going to be. And that's at a lower intensity, so something around like a threshold or a half marathon pace. That'll be one of your sessions in the week. The other one, I would up the intensity and make the interval shorter. It might be 800s, 400s, 600s, or 2 minute reps, and that would be more like a VO2 max focus, or like, you know, you could call it 5k pace, and that's more of like a higher intensity for a lower volume, and then an easy long run on the weekend. If you can do those 3 things consistently for a 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months, years, you can gradually fit around the other components. So you can up the easy mileage that's on those other days. So you might start by just doing cross training on those days, then you might add in easy runs, you might then increase to doing double runs on the days in between as your body gets used to recovering. And same with the sessions, you might start doing more volume, so it might be, you know, rather than you doing 10 minutes of volume, doing 20 minutes of volume, or rather than doing 10 times 400, doing 20 times 400, you can up the sessions as well. But yeah, as a generic framework, you don't need to overthink all this stuff with double threshold and progressive long run and all this sort of stuff. On YouTube, people are obsessed with trying something different or using buzzwords because it sells well, and you don't want to tune in and watch the same videos every week. The reality, which we're here to bring on this channel, is very simple. Most runners do pretty much the same training week in, week out, and they'll be able to tell you that every Monday they have these same 2 runs. A lot of runners will do them in the exact same place at the exact same pace. Running just is like that. It's about stacking the consistency over time. So yeah, keep it simple and just choose a sustainable training method. Don't choose something that you're going to be able to smash out the park for 3 weeks and then down the 4th. Final question for today is from a guy called R_Jago. Again, just put your name. He said, recommended training for under 17s. What were you doing for training as under 17? I'm going to answer this with a bit of a wider brushstroke than giving you specific training advice. If you're a young person watching these videos, remember there's more to life than running. If you're a parent watching these videos, of which a lot of people do message me about their kids and stuff, remind your kids that like there's a long time to try and do things. Running, generally speaking, you can do when you're a little bit older. Still do different sports, different things, different hobbies. Don't be obsessed with the idea that like you have to do this training or this mileage. A lot of people represented GB when they were 16 or 17 or 18 or won European titles or did this. You wouldn't be able to tell me who they are now. You know, they're not making major senior teams. A lot of the top seniors now, we're getting dusted when they were 15 and 16 and weren't that good, relatively speaking. Jake Whiteman's an example of someone who speaks openly about the fact that he finished, way down. Josh Kerr the other day won the 3K at the World Championships, and he put a post saying that the last 3K he did in that stadium, he came like 15 out of 16 or something like that when he was an 18-year-old. So just chill out a little bit, which I know is hard when you're passionate and you're watching running YouTube videos and you see people like me saying running's great, blah blah blah. But when you're young, just understand that you've got plenty of time, relax, enjoy things, and let yourself mature into finding out what you're good at and what you're not. I know if I'd started hard running training when I was 16, 17, I wouldn't be running now, because I wasn't at an emotional maturity level to go out and train by myself and push myself and know when to go hard and when to not, and sort of do that thing. I was team sport orientated. I needed teammates. I just wasn't ready to do stuff by myself. It took me a few years later till I was maybe 18, 19, whatever, when I was like, oh, actually, yeah, running this is kind of good, going out by myself for 2 hours on a weekend to go for a run. That's something that I enjoy. You mature and you learn different things. So yeah, when you're 15, 16, 17, whatever, don't worry too much about training. If you do love athletics, join a club, have the social interaction, meet a coach who's qualified to coach young people, understands their body, stuff like that. That's my biggest advice for you. And if you're a parent, don't go crazy on your kid. I get so many messages and emails from people that are like, oh, my kid's doing this, how can I do it, or how can I push him on, or should they be doing weight training or plyometrics, and they're like 11 years old. Just like, I can't speak because I'm not a parent, but just let your kid work out what they want to do for himself. Cool. Thanks for watching this video. This has been week 2 or episode 2. Next week is going to be an action-packed video, more about cross-training, the training that I'm able to do, more on the detailed like heart rate zone type training specifics. We'll get a few things in there from my coach. It's going to be more about focusing on how I'm trying to maintain and improve fitness rather than just how I'm coping with things as we kick on into the recovery phase. If you like this video, please do give us a subscribe, join in on the journey, comment below anything you want to see. We've got a lot of weeks to be able to do things, explore things, tell you things that we think are valuable. I can only guess what I think you're going to be interested in unless you tell us down below in the comments. And the more that we can grow this channel, the more that we can get different people involved, and we can really kind of hopefully get things taking off. So please do get behind us and support us. And yeah, Charlie, anything to say from Panel Lens?
Nothing from me.
All right.
Unfortunately.
Down but not out. See you soon.